So Sonia and Mandy, it's a wrap. It's a Rizzo. I kind of had a feeling with the whole Christmas giving Otis the ham. It kind of had my suspicions. I knew that something was going to happen to the ham when he returned to give her the ham, and Sonia left for the match. And then when I watched the exclusive, it's kind of all over the place. Cause check this out. Otis returns with the ham, and Sonia goes, "All right, I have a match," and she bounces. So Mandy's there. Of course, you've seen this. She's with Otis, and if you've had the chance to check out the WWE exclusive, which is the extra things that they'll shoot that doesn't make live, they show Mandy and Sonia, and Sonia basically is saying like, "Hey, you're supposed to be back there. Or you're supposed to be out there for me. I needed you." And Mandy's explaining what happened. So she goes, "I got hugged and I got ham all over me." And then Sonia leaves. She realizes, and she comes back and she's like, "Wait a minute. So you're talking about like a ham?" And she's like, "Yeah, ham." And they laugh it off and they walk off. Of course, my first instinct is like, okay, well, for starters, you kissed. My first instinct for starters is you hugged him. And then I'm like, okay, it's not a ham. You actually hugged him. But what's really weird is that when she stepped back, if you look at it again, it does look like the impression of a ham. Anywho, so now we flash forward back to present week. We see Sonia signing. Mandy shows up. Time for her match. She's asking for Sonia to come out. And Sonia goes, "Oh, so now you want me to come out for you? Like you were supposed to come out for my match." Pause right there. If you go back, you had no idea that Mandy was supposed to show up because Sonia just said, "I have a match. I have to go." It would have been wiser to have her say, "It's time to go out. I'll see you out there," which lets the viewer know that Mandy's supposed to be out there. So when the ish jumps off, it leads up to this. Mandy is explaining again, "Well, I told you it was Otis, XYZ, right?" And Sonia says, "Well, I'm going to hand these signed books out." And, no, it wasn't the calendar. It was books, I believe. I was wondering, it would have been cool if they had the calendar out. Anyhow, we're going to get to that. When I'm finished with that, I'll see you out there. Right? Now, creatively, Mandy said, "Oh, it was Otis." Shouldn't Sonia have said, "Hey, wait a minute, I thought you told me it was the ham"? Doesn't that make more sense continuity-wise? I'll see you out there from week 1. It's time. Week 1, gotta go. Week 2, "Oh, it was Otis. Oh, wait, you said it was the ham." Boom, that means you BSing me. From last week, as I was mentioning, I kind of had this feeling because when I went on their YouTube channel for Demandy's Donuts to see if they had because they're pretty consistent when it comes to uploading their content. And by the way, you should subscribe and check their channel out. They're definitely hardcore foodies. I realized that at least by Sunday there was nothing new on that channel. So now the light bulb just broke in my head. I said, yeah, all right, this is definitely going to be a split. And the way that I'm looking at it is that Creative or Carano or whoever in the back informed them that this was going to happen. So whatever it is that you two have going on, because if you are aware how Becky and Charlotte, they were always buddy, and then when their characters split, then they had to stop hanging out. And there was a lot of IG stuff, a lot of social media where you would see them hanging out constantly, doing skits and You don't see that anymore. So Creative probably informed them that this was going to happen, and Effective immediately, you know, you're going to have to chill on your content, because if we're leading into this, you can't be seen together. Now, mind you, anytime that they lose a match or even win a match, when they would do their episodes on their channel, they would make mention of it. So even if they took a L, they'd make a light of it and they'd make fun of the opponent. So there still might be a chance. We'll definitely know by, the end of the week, end of the weekend. So that's what kind of gave me, the rub that they're definitely going into splitting them up. The match between Carmella and Mandy was a much better match than the one that Carmella had with Sonya Deville, and that could have just been solely for time. I think they missed an opportunity with Corey Graves there. What I would have done is, that his character has been, basically kissing Mandy's ass every time she comes out. And we know that he is dating Carmella, and even Michael Cole made light of it. So this isn't something that we're trying to hide anymore. I think it would have been very creative to, when this match is going on, have Michael Cole, have Corey Graves actually leave the announce table, and he's doing the announcing around the ring, with Michael Cole. Michael Cole's still sitting at the table, but he's doing the announcing around the ring. So anytime Mandy would hit, Carmella, it's like, oh, like, Mandy, no, please, I need her face. I'm going to need her face later. It just would have played funny. And then anytime, the reverse was done, like, oh, Carmella, no, please. Oh, this is so hard to watch. Mella, you're just beating up the golden goddess, and she might need those golden eggs later in the future. It would have been something that it could have been hilarious, something very different. And Michael Cole's like, look at this guy, this is just pathetic. Would you just come back and sit down? Like, no, this is so hard to watch. I think I just kind of want to just makes me want to go to the bathroom myself or something. It just would have played so much funnier. And it seemed as if Graves was a little bit harder on Mandy, as far as the commentary. Just there was little things, and I could understand why. But to save face, that could have played so much better. So now when you lead up to the Royal Rumble, if by chance they have to square off against one another, if they're both in the Rumble, he can get up, and maybe he doesn't even have to walk around the ring because it's going to be filled with so many women, but he could still just stand up and get a little closer and walk away from the table, and you would know what he's about to do because he's already set that up, and it's going to be funny. So it was a really good comedic moment that they could have done. And it's like, oh my gosh, how could you blow this? It's like two women that you're, one you're involved with, one you want to be involved with as your character. So it is what it is when it comes with creative. And it's a little annoying to have Michael Cole, giving you the story. Oh yeah, and Sonya was supposed to come out for this. It's like, dude, like, we see this, and whoever's telling him to do this, they should stop. Otherwise, that match, as I stated, was very good. It almost makes me, want to have those two, Sonya and Mandy, as single competitors, although I want them to win the gold, the tag gold first. But this is in my company. And I also think that Mandy has to play the heel in this storyline because, based on past experience, Mandy has burned Sonya at least 3 times, and might be 4 if you want to include this recent episode, but it really wasn't her fault. It's more creative. If you recall, she tossed Sonya out, I think it was the Rumble. If not, it was a Battle Royal. She tossed Sonya out and then later apologized with donuts. She also caused Sonya a match against Asuka. I can't remember how. I just remember when it was Mandy's turn to face Asuka, they did this corny thing where Sonya was fixing the skirt on the side of the ring because it had gone up, and when she pulled it down, they made it seem as if that's why Mandy slipped, and then Asuka was able to, take advantage and get the win. And it was poorly planned because one thing really didn't lead to the other. I know there was another time. It might have to do with Alexa Bliss or Nikki Cross more recently, but there's a number of times where Mandy gave Sonya the short end of the stick. So if I'm running the show, she still has to come off as the heel. To have Sonya come off as the heel, continuity wise, it's at least to me, it's just not going to flow. To see her backstage with the cake and then have Dolph come out, this was another faux pas as far as I'm concerned, because they had him step on the cake and do like really third grade material. And in reality, creatively, we already know that Dolph is a heel. He didn't have to do a heelish type of thing to the cake. The heel character could have simply come out doing his dialogue. All he had to do was just really cut hard on Otis, kind of like he did, but that dialogue wasn't very good. Why wasn't Mandy offended when Dolph stepped on the cake? She should have at least shown some sort of emotion, regardless if she's going to be the face or the heel. Hey, look, somebody made me that cake. Like, why would you do that? And then maybe have Corbin come in, take him out, and now he exits the picture. And then she's just standing there kind of like, almost as if she doesn't know like what to do, even though we know that she's brighter than that. And I'm also wondering why, after Mandy lost her match, she didn't go looking for Sonya, who told her that she might be out there, even though we knew that she was going to shade her. What I would have done, she's talking to Dolph. Dolph is trying to ask her out, or he's leading up to it, because remember, it was set up where Otis got nervous and Mandy had left to go for a match. Sorry. So now Dolph sees her standing there, and he's going to, take his shot. And as he's setting up to take the shot, here comes Corbin. Corbin calls him off. He disappears. You come back afterwards. You see Mandy holding the cake. Dolph shows up. And then she'll ask him, hey, so what happened? Oh, it was nothing. Take care of some business, whatever. And either she leaves the cake and they walk off together, or she takes the cake and they walk off together. And then you see Otis, rather than doing the typical, he comes around the corner, sees the cake on the floor, and assumes that, Mandy did this. Because why would she go out of her way, despite having you in the Secret Santa, why would she get you a ham, give you a kiss, and then next week destroy your cake? And on top of that, hug you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the common sense of the creating this whole thing is just a little bit awkward, or just cliched as well. Because look, quite frankly, anything could have happened when you saw the cake on the floor. There could have been a backstage fight between Mandy and Carmella, or 24/7 title, or anything could have happened. So just to come out, see it, Mandy did this, like, no, like, okay, and you didn't have to do all that. It's just the process of it. You can just see him look, just with a look. He steps in, sees the cake, like, you got to be joking me. Well, you probably can't say that because Billy Kay will probably get upset, but because it's almost as if they're leading up to these little incidents that happened between them, awkward, like, oh, you smushed my cake. Oh, I missed your ham up. Oh, you crashed my car. Oh, and they don't have to do that. What I would do is on one of the weeks, could be in the tag, not sure how they would do it, but Mandy gets her ass handed to her same day as Otis does, and they end up meeting in the medical department, in the medical room or whatever. Otis is sitting there, he's getting iced up. Mandy comes walking in, and they eventually end up talking. And hey, about the cake and the thing with Dolph, forget it. It was nothing. It leads into him asking her out, and he playfully jokes, we can go get a ham inside a cake. They laugh it off. She says, sure, why not? Crowd goes wild. And if Mandy and Otis are getting together, doesn't that mean that they're going to get a special name? Isn't that usually the cliche? That they come up, they start, we start seeing them around. Or at least that's what they used to do. Then they start, tagging together. And it actually makes me wish that they had the mix tag challenge again. That would be cool to watch them do it. And I also like that because you never knew what you're going to get. Seeing the Miz team with Asuka, that was hot. And, she would break into Japanese and you allow me to interpret. That was funky. Wrapping this up, I just want the best for both of those women leading up into the Rumble. When they have to square off, it's going to definitely get a huge pop if they continue with the storyline. I eventually hope they get back together and get these belts. Get those belts first, then go for solo stuff because you already started this journey. But, like I said before, this isn't my company. So thank you for listening. It was a little long, but I tried to be thorough. Ta-ta for now.